What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome back to another transfer view. It's all going off this Tuesday morning. The fixtures are out. The Premier League fixtures are out for the season. The opening day fixtures are out. We're going to talk about where Manchester United start as we kick off the whole Premier League campaign for the whole league on a Friday night against Fulham. We'll talk about that in just a second. So United as well. Mark Guehi, are we going to step away from Branthwaite because he's too expensive? Are we going to say, no, we are not doing that. We are not spending that much money and then just go and spend that much money on Guehi instead? Who knows? Fenerbahce want Lindelof as well. So there's loads of things to talk about, from Branthwaite to Mark Guehi to Lindelof to the opening fixtures. So jam-packed show. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. John James says they use a computer apparently, but forgot to mention it's also ran by algorithms. People, make sure you follow the house rules, wipe your feet, take off your shoes, and drop a like, says Joe Blackman. Couldn't have said it any better. Javid says, good morning, UV fan, big up. The United fixtures have just been released, says Star-Lord. Yep, we're going to touch on that. Fixtures out, says Mar. Yep, we're going to touch on that. And hope everyone is doing well.
Are we going to touch on that, Flex? Are we going to touch on the fixtures?
Nessie says that as well. So big up to everyone in the chat. Yeah, hope everyone's doing well. And let's just get into it. Everybody wants to talk about it. Everyone's saying it in the chat. We do start our Premier League campaign at home to Fulham on Friday night at an 8 p.m. kickoff. Lovely. Lovely getting there. That's lovely on a Friday night. Really do enjoy that. But yes, the fixtures are out, Owen.
Yes, the fixtures are out, and like you said, we're actually going to be the Premier League curtain raiser. In more recent seasons, most of the time ends up being Arsenal on a Friday night, isn't it? Because previously they would just hope that Arsenal would lose on a Friday night, so they would always pick them.
That's why Robbie says it's rigged because they just want to laugh at us. And
Exactly. But instead, no, it's going to be Manchester United. It's going to be Manchester United home against Fulham on a Friday night, which I think most would be expecting Manchester United would get 3 points. We then round out the month of August with two more, shall we say, challenging fixtures. Brighton and Hove Albion away from home, which we did end the season there with a victory. Our last game of the season in the Premier League, of course, was away at Brighton, got a win. And just, 2 games later, we're going to end up back there in the Premier League by...
and it's a new manager as well. They've got like the youngest manager ever in the history of football.
Exactly. Much. It's going to be certainly the youngest manager in the Premier League history. I think it's the age
31.
Of 31. Yeah, 31.
Mental.
And look, our record away at Brighton is not great. That's what was kind of surprising with us picking up the victory there. And then third game of the season, just like it was, Flex, in Erik ten Hag's first season. Third game of the season, it's Liverpool at Old Trafford. But unlike Erik ten Hag's first season at Manchester United, it's not going to be Jurgen Klopp that's arriving at Old Trafford. It's going to be an old rival, an old flame, if you will. It's going to be Arne Slot coming from Feyenoord, coming to Liverpool, and then coming to Old Trafford. That's going to be an interesting one. And you mentioned something, actually, before we went live, which is quite interesting. Given... obviously, the end of, just given last season in general for us in the Premier League, there would have been maybe a bit of concern going, I tell you what, we're not playing very well. One, you would say, even though we didn't play very well last season, we still drew with Liverpool in the league at home. Yeah. Still beat them in the FA Cup at home.
Drove them away as well.
Exactly. We were right against Liverpool last season.
The recent bit, and obviously it's a new look Liverpool. You don't really know what they're going to do. Might turn up, they might fucking turn up to Ras where they're fucking sick. Or they could have a struggling start. I tell you what, Arne Slot might have lost his first 2, as the first manager in the league.
That's what I was going to say.
And I tell you what, Owen, they've got to go to Old Trafford and they've got to get something. They've got to get something. And I will love it. I will love it if we beat them. I said to AGT in a group last night, not in a group, on DR, because we were going through the games we won. I said, you know what? Matisse was like, listen, I've got a new manager. I need a nice first 5 games, get the ball rolling. Robbie was like, yeah, man. Nope. I want the first 5 games.
Was he doing it under the breath thing again? Well, I don't know about it for first 5 games.
He's like, oh, man. First 5 games, man. Nah. I want a nice run, man. Nah.
First 5 games. I don't know about that, man.
So Robbie was doing that, and I was like, yeah, I hear you lot. And then I just saw AGT's silly face. I just looked at him and I just went, you see you. I want you and your new manager, first game of the season at Old Trafford. Mash up Arne Slot. Welcome to the Premier League. I was just giving it. Might get clipped back in, now I've said it, but who cares? I don't care.
As his life.
Yeah, and we've got him as our second home game of the season, so not far off. I'll take that.
No, and we've got to play them in pre-season as well. Again, it's very much echoes of the of Eric Ten Hag's first season. Of course, we played them in the famous game in Thailand. We won the Big Bangkok Trophy, which was about, again, the size of this room that I'm actually sitting in right now. It was ginormous. And then we end up facing them third game of the season. So when you can already see stories kind of play out and you can see where things might be going. There's certainly something to be said about that. So that's the first 3 games. Get into September: Southampton away, Palace away, Spurs at home, probably the biggest game in September. October, you've got Aston Villa away, Brentford at home, West Ham away. November, got Chelsea at home, Leicester City at home, Ipswich Town away, Everton at home. To be fair, I'm looking at the months going, which one's going to be the most difficult one? December's a bit challenging. December's a bit challenging, isn't it?
December's really hard.
December, you've got Arsenal away on the 3rd, Nottingham Forest at home, Manchester City then away from home, Bournemouth at home, Wolves away, Newcastle United at home.
I will say this, in December, there's something about this Arsenal fixture. I don't know how. Do you remember last year it was on December the 2nd? It's on my actual birthday. That game, that Arsenal game,
It wasn't.
Or was that the year before?
Yeah, I was going to say, because last year was really early. Remember, there was the Arsenal away.
No, it was the second away game of the season. We played Spurs away and Arsenal away.
Yeah, exactly.
So the away. But I mean, always playing Arsenal. It's always around that December kind of. It always
apart from
happens
last year.
No, but the home. So when did we play them? When did we play them?
We played them at home in like September
last game of the season.
Year. And then at home. Sorry, away was like September, and at home it was like one of the last games of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the season before that, it was actually my birthday, should I say? And now it's come around again, day after my birthday, the 3rd. And we beat them. We beat them at home, didn't we? That was the Ronaldo one, isn't it?
Well, again, even the season before that at home, it was one of the early.
Yeah, I remember.
That was 2 years ago. That was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Yeah, not the season before last. Eric's first season, we played Arsenal in one of the earlier home games, didn't we? Because we beat them 2-1 or 3-1.
Was it the one where Ronaldo scored a hat-trick?
No, that was, again, that's Ollie's last season.
Wait there. So, wait. What was the one where they got the goal disallowed? That wasn't last season. That was the season before.
It's season before last, and that was like October time, maybe, or late September.
Oh yeah, where we scored the 2 goals on the break.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so the one before that was the Ronaldo one where he scored the penalty and Odegaard.
Yeah, that was on your birthday.
Oh fucking hell! So it's about 2 years ago. Sometimes it's been on my birthday.
It's a theory of them always playing on a birthday. We've seen us categorically false.
Do you know what's funny though? But you remember one of them and you think that happens all the time, but it doesn't. But you know why? It's because it's so significant that it's my birthday. The fact it's happened again, it feels like that was the other day.
It must be every single time.
Anyway, it's on my birthday again, and they better not. Well, it's the day after, so they better not ruin it.
So that's December, difficult December. And then we start off the new year, again, continuing with difficult games. January 4th, we go away to Liverpool. Yes, away to Liverpool in January. A bit like, again, last year, we went away to Liverpool around sort of late December, early January, I think. That was around the time, wasn't it? Yeah, because it was just after we played Bayern Munich and we lost in the Champions League, wasn't it? It was right at the end of the year. When we got mocked for celebrating the 0-0. And then we got Brighton.
February and the August. Take out Southampton. It's pretty much the same, but the reverse.
Well, this is also the important thing to stress, isn't it? With all of these fixtures, they are subject to change. It will not end up in that order. Things will get moved around because of cup games, because of postponements, because of what have you. Manchester United, of course, this season play in the Europa League. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Thursday, Sunday throughout the season. And depending on how far United go or opponents go in cup competitions.
Depending if we're bottom of the group. Well, there's no groups anymore, but the bottom of that thing.
The league thing.
We didn't make it through. So December, we're done.
Exactly.
It's all right.
So a lot of the games will get moved around and dates will be changed for television, etc. So other key ones towards the end of the season, we play March. In March, we play Arsenal at home. April, we've got Manchester City at home. And May, we've got our final 2 games of the season. Well, to be fair, our final 4 games of the season are actually pretty challenging looking at it. We've got Brentford away, which our record's not great there. We've got West Ham at home, which you would think we can win, but you never know what West Ham's going to show up in a season, do you?
Lopetegui, mate, don't know.
Exactly. Penultimate game of the season, Chelsea away. Didn't go well for us there last season. And
Nope.
Chelsea away is a weird one because for ages we never won at Stamford Bridge. Never.
And we should be winning the games that
And
we've had there as well. We should have won all of them.
Exactly.
Recently.
So that's a bit of a concerning one. And the final game of the season at home against Aston Villa, which again, it depends how the season plays out because there are situations, isn't there, when those two games could be utterly meaningless. You know, both teams on the beach, they don't really care, or there might be everything on that game. So
don't know.
That is football in a nutshell, isn't it?
Don't know.
Could be a bit of a difficult May, that one.
Yeah. So there's the fixtures. I mean, the main bits. If you just look at the derbies, you got if we're looking at the derbies and the big games. Liverpool home, 31st of August. Just to recap, the ones that we really always look for. And Man City is in, when's that, December? Yep, Man City away December. So keep that in the month that you need to look out for. Also, the return of that Liverpool game, which would be away, is in, when was that? January. And the other Man City game is before that, and that is in, when is that, Owen? December. Then we don't play Man City again until
April, I think it is.
April the 5th. So yeah. Listen, the fixtures. I have seen some people show was saying, why do people care about the fixtures? We have to play everyone, But Manish was sort of talking back, said the order affects results, especially if there's a bunch of big teams or spread out, etc. Yeah, I do think, look, it's not the be all and end all because essentially it's 38. Nothing changes. It's a 38 game season. You have to play everybody. But if your first 5 games you look and there's no big 6 teams in there, you're going to look at it and say, right, there's a chance there to rack up to build some momentum before the first big game of the season against Team X. Or you could say, the fact that the first big game we've got this year against Liverpool is actually at home. Win that, it can galvanize, and then going into September, you go away to Southampton and Palace in decent nick if you've beaten Fulham, Brighton, and Liverpool in your first 3 games. So, then the next big game we've got against the next top 6 is also at home against Spurs. So the first big games that we're playing are at home, which, it's good. Or you could say, rather get them out of the way early. That some people say, rather play Man City in August away, September away, just to get out of the way. Rather play Liverpool away now.
There's a reason why when it gets to sort of key stages of the season, when it's the race for the title or race for top 4, there's a reason why the broadcasters all show remaining fixtures because it matters. Because you look at it and go, well, they've got a good run. Actually, that's going to really help us. Or they've got a difficult run. That's going to really help us. The one thing I will say, again, with that opening game being on a Friday, like I said, and maybe this is me doing the same thing like with you and your birthday with the Arsenal games. I just can recall at least 2 occasions where Arsenal kicked off the league campaign on a Friday, and it felt like it got to the point where I was like, because they're most likely to lose or screw up, basically. Is that what we've become, basically? Is that Sky Sports looking at it going, I tell you what, we could put Man City. We could put Man City on the Friday at home. Well, I don't know what their first game of the season is, but they could win. Or we could put Arsenal there. They're probably going to win. You never know, Man United. You never know, Man United.
Absolutely. And obviously, they wouldn't have known it was Fulham when they decided to put us on the first game of the season. I don't think. Well, it's rigged. You never know how dodgy it is, but the thought process behind it, I agree with you, Owen. Because let's be honest, Man United have been turbulent. It's now. They would have had their transfers. Ineos, they've backed him. They've decided to keep him. So if he loses that first game, that'd be perfect.
It's drama
perfect
there.
For Sky Sports. Let's not get that twisted. If Man United get turned over by Marco Silva in the same fashion we got again,
exactly
in the same fashion that we did. And on a Friday Night Football, you got Jamie Carragher on the thing saying, "Here's a clip from last year March when I said the same thing." And
I tell you what, as well, because that Friday Night Football format is it's much looser. They're they're at the ground, they're on the pitch, they've got their little thing. Gary never goes out and talks to the fans. I'm telling you now, Fleck. Jamie Carragher before the game is going to be cussing out Eric Ten Hag. He's going to be cussing out Man United. He's going to be doing all that kind of stuff. So get ready, basically, guys. That's what that format is going to be. That whole build-up is going to be nothing about Fulham. It's just going to be about slagging off Man United, 100%. Eric Ten Hag, Ineos, the signings we have done or we haven't done at that point. Either way,
they are all. And this is the thing what KG's like reminding us of and saying it's like all of don't get it twisted as well. Like, because it's on Friday, the whole of the Premier League,
World is what?
they
Yeah.
all them Arsenal fans, all the Liverpool, all of them, Chelsea. So I'm just thinking of the people that we know and I know, all Matisse and AGT. They're gonna be ready. They are locked in because their teams ain't playing until tomorrow and Sunday, respectively. They're gonna be like, right, it's Friday night. Let's see. I am ready. Delete drafts, mate, because we ain't losing.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we don't.
What I want again, I want Eric Ten Hag to be able to do the same kind of interview after the match that he did after the FA Cup final, where he's standing there with the broadcasters after the. Well, you know what I mean? I'd be like, you know, and again, like, this is what I hope the line he takes with the media this season. Like, don't forget, Eric. All right, let's not be like, oh, bygones be bygones, that kind of thing. No, when you're doing these interviews, do like you did after the FA Cup final, and just be like, you know, up yours. I heard you talk before the game, Jamie.
You thought we're going to lose today?
Yeah, exactly. You know, or it'll be like, to be fair, it'll be the same in the sense of it'll be like, congratulations, Eric, you won the game. How close were you to losing your job in the summer?
Been a turbulent summer for you, Eric, because things calm down now. Man like Dave Jones. I can see it. I can see it, mate. I can see it.
Or Gary Neville, because they'll both be there. They'll both be there. Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher pitch side, won't they? You know, that's what they'll be doing.
Yeah, get him under the brolly.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Ryan says, can we get a redo? Do you want to swap, lads? I haven't seen Chelsea's, but it looks...
Oh, Chelsea got tough.
I think they got City first, have they?
I believe so.
Oh, dear. Well, Enzo Maresca, mate, you're in the big time now, mate. Welcome. You know what I mean?
Didn't they have, was it Liverpool first day last season? Yeah.
Or second game, but their first home game, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't know.
What will happen is they'll lose. They'll lose maybe, let's say, like 3-1 or something like that. But there'll be something in the game that they'll be going, yeah, Maresca ball, though. I'm telling you. Like, that's what they'll do. That's what will happen.
Where is it? At home or away for them? Where are they playing them? Because
that's what happened after the Liverpool game last season. They were like, but, you know, Poch, you know.
Chelsea. No, they got Man City at home on Sunday, 4:30. Spurs got to go to the King Power. Arsenal, Wolves, they'll take care of them. Newcastle, Southampton, they'll win. Villa, West Ham, interesting. Brighton, Everton. Yeah, Liverpool got Ipswich away. You never know, though. Kieran McKenna ball, 12:30. I tell you what, AGT. He's got to go to Portman Road and he's got to get something. Yeah. He's got to get something. Yeah. Anyway.
That's got upset written all over it, that one, doesn't it?
I hope so.
Liverpool
Remember,
manager.
Jurgen Klopp didn't used to like the 30s. Will Arne Slot?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Right, Mark Guehi.
Yes.
What's going on? Let's get into this now.
Yeah, this is quite an interesting one. It's actually interesting this has been reported because it was something that actually in your interview of Laurie Whitwell yesterday, he kind of alluded to about the price being a problem for Jared Branthwaite and actually Manchester United because of that, looking at alternatives, looking at other targets. Now, Dharmesh, friend of the channel from Sky Sports, has said that Manchester United are discussing whether to go back in for defender Jared Branthwaite. It is understood if Everton don't reduce the asking price, United will move on to other targets. Those targets include Crystal Palace's Mark Guehi, Lille's Lenny Euro, which of course we know about, and Jean-Claude Todibo from Nice. As far as a price, if any club really was looking at Mark Guehi, Matt Law from The Telegraph said the Crystal Palace have not given up on keeping him this summer, but will demand £65 million plus. I'm assuming that plus is add-ons if clubs come calling.
So the same then? Is that about the same as Branthwaite? Not far off. Well, about 10 million less. Really.
Well, according to some reports, Everton won 80 million for Jared Branthwaite, don't they? You know, 70 to 80. And if that's Palace's starting point, you would say, well, you always come down a little bit, maybe from the starting point. So it could come down to like a 60, also, a 55.
We say this. He's playing in the Euros now, mate. He's already had one good game. Let's just add on 5 million each game. Let's be real. Like Steve Parish as well. Shrewd businessman. You ain't going down to Palace and putting their pants down for these players. One thing I do rate about Palace is they're getting their money's worth for this crop of players they've managed to harvest. If you look at Eze, Wharton will be another one in due course, but he's only just got there. Obviously, Elise, Anderson, and Guehi. They've got 5 top assets that can fetch big money. Big money. And Steve Parish, you're not going to be able to go there and just say, right, you know, he's going to go, hang on a minute, England in the quarterfinals, mate. Did you just see Guehi against Portugal, against Ronaldo and their man? They're in England are in the semi-finals. I know you don't predict they will be, but let's just say, you know, the further they go, the more his stock's going to go up. So that 65, it's gonna be about the same as Branthwaite, mate. He might
And they might not need
surpass him.
money. At that point, if they know they're getting rid of Elise for 60 to 70, if let's say the Eze deal happens, by that point they might be like, Ajax a few years ago when they just go,
Yes,
oh, we don't need to sell. Like we've already raised 100 million quid or so. So
exactly. What's Guehi as well? He's young.
Yeah, he's a young player. Do you look at that though? When you see Darmash reporting that, do you think that's maybe less interest on Guehi and more pressure on Everton as Man United putting out in the media like, no, we've got like three or four different targets. We've got 3 or 4 different targets. So get the price down. Yeah,
I do think that. That briefing that he's got there is a bit of a line to say that we are looking at other players. We're not just going to be held to ransom for one. We were looking at Branthwaite the other day. Now we're here looking at Guehi. We've got Todibo on the back burner. We've got Lenny Yoro interest. Okay, the reports were Real Madrid are favourites for that, so that's probably the least likely. But there's other targets, and we can't rule out who's the guy we covered from Inicial from Sporting. He's on the list as well. So Man United are going to have a lot on the list. We're going to have a lot. De Ligt is on the list as well from our good friend Plettenberg. So there's so much players that Man United are going to get linked to that either aren't true or are true. But we are shopping for centre backs big time as a priority. So. Yeah, I don't know. And actually, the names we've been linked to, the good thing is, none of them are like, what on earth are we doing? I hope we don't get him. Like, it's all fair game. It's all about go and get us the right deal. Like, if it ends up being sort of someone not as, experienced in the Premier League, but like, the profile I keep talking about for like 40 million euros, the fans will get behind it. Obviously, they have to come and deliver.
I saw one yesterday, Flex. Centre back that plays for Austria. He plays for Lens. He's 26. I was doing the match. He did all right. Is it all right? What was his name? Was it Donza? I think it was.
On Ralph Rangnick's team. Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah.
Played in France yesterday.
He played academies at Reading and Milton Keynes. So he knows life.
Local lad.
So I was like, oh, I was going to give you a call.
Now? Plays for Lens.
Lens, in France.
Yeah, there you go, mate. Played against Mbappe, mate. Just stopped him. I'll have him.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's it, mate. When I was looking at Euro highlights or Todibo, that one game or obviously 2 games I have a season against PSG or whatever. When you see them just flying into tackles against Mbappe or keeping up, I'm like, yep. I mean, that's how I bought Amrabat. But like,
how was it? Kevin Danzo plays for Lens. Played there for the last 3 years. 100 games for them. He's got 21 caps for Austria.
Yeah.
25 years old.
Get him, mate. That's what side is he? Right centre back? Was he?
I don't know. 6'3", centre back. Tall player.
Yeah. Get him in.
Yeah.
Like Guehi says, the Mbappe test. Yes, if you played in France, if I see you keeping up with bloody Mbappe, or I see some Champions League highlights or something, and you've kept pace with Dembele, or you nick the ball off Musiala. I don't know. I just get gassed when I see things like that. But obviously, it's a load of bollocks because I saw Amrabat run the full length of the pitch, bruck up Mbappe, take the ball and run back the other way, all in the name of Moroccan heart. And, didn't quite go that way in the Premier League. So, Owen.
What? What?
Owen.
You all right? Are you okay? What's
Owen?
You sound like a bit of an attack.
Sorry. Yeah, because I forgot. The same way you do the Southgate thing. Yeah. Someone just put it in the chat. Yeah.
Go on.
Someone. What am I going to say? They all laughed at me.
Oh, Kante.
Yeah.
Said this
Owen. They all laughed at me and said he's finished.
So you want him at Man United? What they laughed at you for? Let's not change the narrative here.
Rubbish. What's he gonna do?
Let's not change the narrative.
Saudi with his 4 lungs. Yeah. Come back out the blue and run the whole show. We don't need him. We don't need someone like that. What's he going to do? Yeah, we'll get Amrabat. Stiff up instead. Yeah.
You're changing the narrative and you're adding some external information that's not true, okay? The situation was when he was at Chelsea and you were like, bring Kante in. And rightfully so, people were like, no, he's old. And
hasn't been injured all year.
Had injuries, playing Saudi flex, right? And
so what? So does Ronaldo.
He's having a good game. So he's had a good game against Austria at the Euros, and he's the answer for Manchester United, is he? In a 50-game plus season, building in the future.
Squad player, yes. Rather have him than Amrabat squad player right now. Yes. Yes.
And then when he gets injured, then we'll have to say...
Hang on. Played 44 games in the desert this year. 44 games in 42 degrees heat.
What's his
42
wages?
games he played.
What's his wages, Flex?
No, before he went Saudi, his wages wouldn't have been this, would it? He's gone to Saudi and played 44 games.
But at Man United, there would have been.
Injury prone. Can't run. Can't do nothing. Who would we rather have this season? N'Golo Kante? Yeah.
Well, obvious.
Or Amrabat?
That's not a fair argument, is it?
Why is it not? Because everyone said don't get him.
Because Amrabat's going to go away at the end of the season too. So the suggestions having N'Golo Kante for one season over Sophie and Amrabat for one season is ridiculous, isn't it? Of course you'd have N'Golo Kante for one season.
Okay. All right.
But you were saying sign him for like long-term contract.
Yeah, give him 2-3 years, yeah. Manage him properly. He's just got to play 44 games in the hottest league in the world.
Yeah, with the intensity of the Premier League and with all the games in the Premier League as well, and all the games.
Manage him, squad player.
And you're forgetting also, Flex. You want to get someone with a history of injury problems and put them in our medical department.
We didn't have them problems then.
In our medical
we didn't have
department.
problems then.
Our medical department's always been rubbish.
Casemiro all over again. Do you think Kante would have been falling over?
Ask Anthony Martial what he thinks of the Man United medical department for the last 4 or 5 years.
That's just him. That's only him. We hadn't had them injuries to everyone else.
In the Man United medical department.
Luke Shaw and him have always been injured. Yes or no? Luke Shaw and him have always had that. That's their own problem.
And remember with Marcus Rashford a couple of seasons ago, he's playing. He was connected with blue tack and all that kind of stuff.
Stupid back. He didn't go and get. And he wanted to go to the Euros like a Wally. Not get his back.
There is loads of players.
Do it.
Eric Guehi.
He was always injured.
And the medical department doesn't help. So if you've got an injury-prone player and you put him in Manchester United, they will turn
Bruno's
to
never injured.
Even he got injured at the end of this season.
Yeah, it's just fatigue.
Even Bruno, he's immortal.
Fatigue.
You know how ridiculous that is? An immortal man. That's like injuring Wolverine and his arm, like chopping his arm off and doesn't grow back.
Would Kante have been falling over like an idiot like Casemiro did this year? Yes or no?
He wouldn't have been playing, Flex. He'd have been injured.
All right.
He would have.
All right. Well, he's going to play 44 games in a very, very hot country. And he's come to the Euros and been the player of the match straight away.
Why are you
instantly
harping on about the climate as well?
Because he can cope. Manchester's cold.
Okay. I'm saying temperature's irrelevant here.
I'm saying we had Amrabat and other dead players when Kante has just literally come and done that. So he could have played for us. That's my point. He could have. We can say if buts about the injuries, but he's gone there and played 44 games and didn't get injured. He's played 3,082 minutes.
Yeah, in the Saudi Pro League, not the Premier League, not in European football, and not with our medical department.
Doesn't matter.
It does.
It doesn't, because you could have just said, well, I'll tell you what, you just rotate him. Just rotate him. Can't definitely say we'd have got injured.
With who this year? With who?
Garnacho didn't get injured this year.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a history of injury problems. You're just naming irrelevant people now.
And actually, we say this
Andre Onana didn't get injured this year.
When's the last time we watched
Let's just do that one.
When's the last time we watched Saudi League week in, week out to see that it's really, really slow and no one.
I watched it at the beginning of the season, actually.
And it was so slow. Well, it was worse than the Championship then. It's just so slow. Because the Premier League, I tell you what, you've seen after games of the Premier League, they're passing it backwards and sideways anyway.
Some of the defenders
in the cold
that I was watching in the Saudi League, and some of the goalkeeping I was seeing was insane. Not so much, obviously, for the bigger teams. They got a lot of the players.
Yeah,
must be stressed. Yeah.
I'm only joking, but it was really good to see him.
He played really well last night. Of course, he did.
It was like prime Kante. It was like the normal Kante.
Of course. But that's what international tournaments kind of are like, though, aren't they?
Yeah, you can bring someone in. It's sort of like the Wout Weghorst thing, like the Morata thing. Like we don't want to go sign them. Like
and also like there are. You do see that like with class players, regardless of their age, when you're playing, how many games they're going to play throughout the tournament? If you go all the way, was it like 6 games or something like that? Maybe a bit more. Like you can show up, you can show up, and he was brilliant. Yeah.
But what is funny? Obviously, over the season, you can't rely on him and all that. But I will be honest though, if Kante had to play for us on the first,
if you had him for a big game.
If you had him in games, like he would do, Kante wouldn't just fall over and can't move and can't do nothing. Yes, over 38 games, you're saying, injury problems and stuff like that. I accept that, but let's not act like if he played for us, like for some games, he wouldn't be like one of the best midfielders on the park, if not the.
Oh,
He
yeah,
looked
I had a bit of
still
a
now.
debate last night about this, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on this. And in the chat, you can let me know as well.
Yeah.
So Marcel Sabitzer, of course, played for Austria last night. He started, he captained the side until Arnautovic came on. And I kind of pushed back on the narrative of, well, we should have kept Sabitzer. We should have kept him. We should have kept him. And my point was, in hindsight, you would say yes. In hindsight, you would say yes, because what was his buyout clause? I think it was like 20 million. I think at the time, maybe.
Mm.
But my point was, what we can't forget with Sabitzer was that the discussion was, and there was a general consensus that, well, we could spend that 20 million, or we could save that 20 million and spend it on a bigger, better, longer term solution, which we thought we were going to do, but we didn't, because we spent it on Mason Mount and then he was injured the whole season. So obviously it's easy to say in hindsight, oh, we should have kept Marcel Sabitzer. But we also have to remember the context of the time that, well, that wasn't really the situation at the time. And what didn't help him is he came for 6 months, and towards the end of that, he got injured. He finished the season injured, if I recall correctly. And it was like, oh no, well, we'll just move on. So what do you make of that, Flex? Should we have kept him, or is that easy to say with hindsight?
Yeah, it's hindsight can fix everything, can't it? That's the problem with hindsight. It really can. I know I was having a little bit of a laugh, which was a bit of a null and void about the Kante thing, but I'm just messing about and doing a hindsight. Oh, it means that he would have come and he wouldn't have got injured because he just played 40. It's hindsight. You can't. Hindsight's a beautiful thing. There are some things where you can say, well, no, that was a really bad decision to let that player go.
Yeah, we said that at the time,
or
that kind of stuff.
exactly. So it can, but I think that one's a bit of a stretch because, like you said, the club made a decision to get Mason Mount for all that money, which that's a replacement right there. He's supposed to play game in, game out and be ready
and in fairness, that Mason Mount one, that wasn't universally praised. That wasn't universally praised at the time. In fairness to the Mason Mount one,
everyone was vexed. Most people were vexed. Most people were like,
exactly.
We need a striker, and the first thing we've done is go and buy this guy for 60 million. Chelsea pulled up pants signs, and they've got a year left, and it's another midfielder. Like, we have to get a striker and a goalkeeper. That was like the main thing. That's the priority. So, and then it was sometimes us actually trying to calm it down and say, look, we don't know how we're going to finish the window. Let's wait and see. And then what they did do was then they got Onana, then they got Højlund. So they did actually get the 3 priorities that we needed. And then we felt quite comfortable, although people were like, to be fair, the biggest thing was the Mason Mount thing. People were like really uncomfortable by it, like 60 million for Mason. I just don't see where he's going to fit. He's not going to play a 10 instead of Bruno. We've got Casemiro. Where does he? He's not a defensive mid. He's not. What's he going to be? But 60 million, then we're like, oh, he's a good footballer. He's had a bad season at Chelsea, but we know it's there. Then the injuries happen, and we start the season crap, and he starts 2 games, and then it just goes from
even
bad to worse.
It was when it was announced he was the number 7. My jaw dropped.
Oh yeah,
when he was given the number 7.
And people were like, "It's just a number. It doesn't matter." And I done a video, didn't I? I was like, "No, this is a sacred number at this football club."
Yeah,
but some people generally don't care. Some people go, "Listen, Eddie Nketiah's got the 14 right now at Arsenal. Like, it's just a number." But
if you asked Arsenal fans about that, how do you really feel about that?
Yeah,
I would say push comes to shove, they'd be like, "Well, it's not really." And the number 7, it's got more lineage than that. Number 14, number 7, a Man United number 7 is different. We're talking the best of the best icons, and I get that. People say, "Well, yeah, but in modern times we've had some shitty players wear it," and I get that, but that doesn't take away from its history. You know what I mean? To the point, and this was a commercial decision, wasn't it? Because it's like, well, we can't have nobody have the 7 for a season, basically, because it sells shirts, wasn't it? And it was like, oh, but treat it with respect. Even if you hold it for a season, and because my thing was, I was like, well, hold it off for a season and then give it to Garnacho later on or something like that. And even now I go, well, would he be ready for that? I don't know, maybe not, but not Mason Mount. Even then, even if it worked
people were saying, oh, it's a bit early for Garnacho. We were saying leave it for a year.
That's what I said. Leave it for a year at least.
Just let it be. Just to see who. And then after this year, we probably would have been like, okay, let's have a look.
Leave it for another year.
Or leave it for another year. Yeah, until someone comes in and grabs it. Oh, we got Elise now. I'll tell you what. Let's have a look there. So yeah, look, I hear you. I hear you on that. So back to your question. In hindsight, yes, it's a great thing, but this Sabitzer thing, I think it's quite hard to just say, that we should have done that.
Yeah, I'd be fair. I look at that team and I don't I don't think I could be an advocate for anyone having number 7 at the moment. Like I said, this time last year, I was like, well, maybe leave it a season, wait for Garnacho. But now I'd be like, wait a while still. I mean, it's a heavy burden of a shirt. You know what I mean? And at this point, it might be cursed, really. You know.
Well, yeah, with how it is right now,
Yeah.
we have to say that. Yeah. Let's get super chats out. Glenn C says we got Europa games all the way until the end of January this year because of the 2 extra games. Okay, I didn't realize it goes into that. So at least that minimum. Amanor says, how good is Guehi when compared to Branthwaite? Offer different things, don't they? Offer different things. I do like Mark Guehi though. I do think he's good. I'm not. The pair of them is a weird one. The pair of them is a weird one because it's like you really don't know how they're going to be in that step up, do you? Really, until it happens. Like there's always going to be reservations. I mean, Palace fans will tell you, listen, I see Guehi week in week out. He will be absolutely fine for Man United or whoever. But as we've seen, it is a whole different pressure. It's a whole different thing playing for Man United, especially this version of Man United that we're trying to rebuild. It's a whole different pressure that comes with it, whole different level of scrutiny, whole different level of media attention, social media attention, everything. It just tenfold.
Yeah.
So both of them I've got big reservations about spending big fees on because they're young and English and coming from Everton and Crystal Palace respectively. There's going to be a lot of pressure put on them, and there's going to be quite a lot of praise and criticism at different points. Someone just said there, Greg Frost says Branthwaite is 6'4", Guehi's 6 foot. Guehi does look a lot smaller than what's it called? Branthwaite. Branthwaite is a bit of a beast. But look, Guehi, I like the way he speaks in the interview done after this first game there. I like the way he speaks. Seems quite a calm, level head. It's all about who do we feel is better suited to Martinez.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's the compliment, isn't it? It's who can compliment Leach. You know, Leach is left-footed. He's smaller. Do you want to go with then right-footed and maybe a bit more bigger? Basically, like you talk about the replacing Varane, trying to find the next Varane, but do you want to find someone that's a bit of a similar model to him of sort of tall, right-footed? Maybe again some of the negatives that Varane had, maybe when it came to sort of pace or ability to sort of squeeze up a little bit. Would you maybe be looking more towards, again, something like that? But that's where I do think, like you said, with the reservations with Guehi, I do think we'll probably be a bit fair, maybe with the height stuff.
Because then you've got two centre-backs that are on the smaller side.
Yeah, smaller side. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he's not tiny.
No, exactly.
6 foot's my height.
And Leach still wins headers. Look at him. He was marking Erling Haaland in the FA Cup final. So that doesn't necessarily matter. But... Yeah. At the same time, Rafael Varane was winning a lot of headers in the FA Cup final as well. And he's a beast in the air, isn't he? Wins headers all the time. So, but one thing that must be said, it is nice to be like, not looking at it going, well, we're only going for Jared Branthwaite this summer, and we're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There is at least a bit of comfortability of being like, well, look, if it's not going to be Branthwaite, well, we've already got a couple of other people we're talking to, we're looking at. So I agree with what Laurie Whitwell was saying yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if United pulled out of the Branthwaite deal more as a statement to everyone else, being like, oh, by the way, guys, if you're going to mess us around, we'll go elsewhere. We'll find someone else. And also to Everton, because their need to sell at the end of the month, that's not changing. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. No. So I think it's also a message to them to say, look, we'll walk away, and then suddenly, who's going to give you some money that you really need? So I still say watch that one, because that one's not.
I'm surprised no one's talking about Anderson as well. He's good.
It's actually a pretty good centre-back market this summer.
Yeah, surprisingly, yeah. Anderson's, it's all about Guehi, but no one's really talking about Anderson. N248 says, lads, I want to hear your thoughts, please. Do you know if we're still doing transfers one at a time? Because it still feels because it sure feels like it. Do you have any industry info? To the latter bit of your question, no. I'm not going to fake that and say, oh, I've heard a bit of this. No, don't know any of that, bro. And me personally, which Owen, unless you know any different, I think you'd probably echo. We don't know if we're doing transfers one at a time. I know we're hearing that. It's just right now, it's not like bids gone in for a striker or a midfielder, or it does all feel like it's all gearing towards the centre back as the first one we're trying to do. But we've seen stranger things happen. All of a sudden, bid accepted for striker from bloody Monaco, 25 million euros. Man United looking to be, oh, okay, who's that? Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
So we're in uncharted territories. This is Ineos' first window. They're only just putting to bed the Eric Ten Hag stuff. Clearly, he's staying. But now what we're seeing is it's going to turn into, oh, when's this new contract going to get done? What are these details going to look like? Are they going to agree on this thing? Which they will, but when's that going to happen? So there's a lot of spinning plates. We don't really know. We have to wait.
I think that's a good point to bring up. That, and again, even kind of Laurie Whitwell kind of echoed that a little bit yesterday in saying about, again, going back to the Branthwaite walking away thing. There's an assumption of how Ineos are going to operate this summer, but nobody really knows. And also, it must be stressed that the way we operate this summer isn't even going to also be a good indication as to what it actually was going to look like at the future, because everything's not actually in place and ready yet. So things at the moment are sort of being not kept warm, but things are moving on. And they're waiting for Omar Barada to come in early July to kind of finish things off a little bit. And then once Dan Ashworth comes in, things might move a little bit differently then. So it's almost like at the moment, it's like, I don't know, it certainly isn't the complete article, put it that way. So I don't even think this summer is going to be the real indicator of, oh, this is how United are going to operate in the future. It's like, well, this is maybe going to be how United intends to operate, but maybe in the future they might be moving a little bit differently too. But I hope, like you, for the super chat there, N248, that it's not the slow, right, it's going to be, we're going for Mason Mount now. That one's done. Right, we're going to go for Andre Onana now. That one's done. Right, we're going to be going for Rasmus Højlund now. That one's done. Right, we're going to go for Amrabat now. Let's go on to that one. You know what I mean? It was very much like, and when you ask about a position, let's say when we were going for Onana last year, and we go, what's going on with the striker? They'll go, well, United are going for one.
Yeah.
But we're not really doing that at the moment. They're doing that later on, like it's a list of chores. I hope that is not the case.
Yeah, because you want us to be able to do like multiple things at once to get things done quickly, because things do take a lot longer when you try to do it in the way that you're saying we do usually operate. It takes a lot longer to do things, and then we're left with like, so when are we getting this player then? So when are we getting that player then? We've got 1,700 people watching, 537 likes. Come on, guys, let's raise that. Let's get to 1,800 / 2K watching live. Why not share the video? And 750 likes. We want to get those through the door as well. Ryan says Flex deserves the MJ gun meme for this. Saudi Flex, talking about the Kante thing. Had a lot of injuries. Well, he had one season of injuries, and other than that, all the rest is fine. I had it up ready. That season that was talking out. If we see that, you lot sit down. And he gets player of the tournament as well. Sit down. Yeah. Because really, I was looking at his injury record, yeah. And we do sometimes say, right, players often say their injury, they're gone, yeah. Because last season was the one. He missed 30 games. Like, that was the one, innit? 22-20. We went up. But before that, in all the seasons he's played, 4 games, 2, 6, 3. It's all about right. He missed a few games here or there. It was last season. Then this is the very season after that. Yes, it's in Saudi, so we say it's a pub league, but he obviously wasn't injured. So, maybe I'd love for N'Golo Kante to say, I've done a year in Saudi. I'm going back to Europe. I'm going to go play for
PSG,
Milan, PSG, Juve, somewhere like that. Do like 40 games again and without injury, and just show everyone like, yeah, I had one season where I was injured. One. Like that by that logic, he's had multiple seasons where he's been amazing, no injury, hardly any. Leach has had one season of bad things. Are we writing him off and saying he's just dead now and can't play?
It would be the thing is, Flax. It would just be typical Man United. Would never like, we've signed N'Golo Kante, and you go, yeah, but it's 5 years too late.
Yeah, and he's 33. He's 33.
And then to your point, almost a bit like the Casemiro thing. He would come in first season, be brilliant.
Yeah,
we'd be like
massive wages,
5-year deal.
Yeah,
don't worry. You know what I mean?
No, we don't need it. It's just that the actual attributes of how good he still is what we do need.
He's still N'Golo Kante. You know what I mean?
He just started instead of Tchouaméni and Camavinga. Like, yeah, it's like, do you know what I mean? Like the same youth that we're saying needs to replace this old guy because he can't do it no more. The guys come out of Saudi league. The thing where everyone's saying it's shit. It shows how good Kante actually still is.
I tell you, is good.
Run the show.
I tell you, is good. France. Theo Hernandez, the left back.
Wicked.
I know we're in the market for a left. We're not going to get him, but I'm just saying he is unbelievable. The pace, every single cross he put in, fizz delivery
Wicked.
across
Yeah.
the box.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a
wicked.
proper left back.
He's
He
wicked.
is.
And it's weird, the Rabiot thing, isn't it? Because
He's
when
good
he
for
plays for France,
Yeah.
it's always good. And really, if we watch Juve, innit, he plays for. If we watch Juve week in, week out, we'd probably say, look, he's a decent player for them. But every time we were linked, we're like, no, that's not.
But he's still
You
big
know.
wages, isn't it? You know, big
Of
wages.
course. I'm not saying we should get him. I'm just saying it's
baggage.
interesting when you look at them and go,
Yeah,
I
they play
saw
for
him
their
yesterday.
country.
He's about it, mate. He's better than what we got.
Yeah,
Better
Magic
than
Mike in
McTominay.
goal as
Better than
well.
Ericsson.
Magic Mike in goal,
Oh,
Flagy.
Magic Mike, man. Magic Mike. What a keeper. What a keeper. He's good, man. I like him.
It was, to be honest, it was a really good game. Like, I really enjoyed
Ralph
that game.
Rangnick played some good stuff.
I was just about to say, for all of the we're talking about France there, for all we're going to talk about France, I wasn't like blown away by them. I thought obviously Mbappe missed a sitter. There was an air shot by Giroud. But that group, France, Netherlands, Austria, and even Poland, because they did all right against Netherlands.
Yeah. It's tight.
That's going to be a heck of a group. That I look at Austria and go, they play, because the Netherlands play France next, and then they play Austria last. And I think the Netherlands will be looking at those next two games and be like, it's going to be difficult. It's
good thing we beat Poland.
Yeah,
you know I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
They might be able to, like, the way the games might go, they might be able to nick a draw against France and then be right.
They've all been good games, apart from England's.
Yeah.
Apart from England, that's it. They've all been good games.
Leave England alone, Owen. We won our first game. Wait till Thursday. Judge it then, mate.
I will. Trust me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you will judge. It's not like you to to not judge. You sent me just to go back a little bit. You sent me the video of Eric Ten Hag's thing.
Oh yeah,
press conference, not press conference. That TV thing.
Yeah.
When you watch it, there's even more bits that he kind of says. And when you watch it, actually, you do the thing that you're saying about the language and the tone and the context.
Yeah,
it changes even further from reading the quotes to how he said it in response, like the people's faces in the studio when he says certain things, like in the native tongue. Yeah,
you see the smiles in the background. I think one of them's Eric's son, by the way.
Oh, is it?
One of them, I think, is
like. I wish that was on our TV. Like, it's so like in Dutch TV, they could just get Eric Ten Hag. He could just, like it was really just laid back and just And he was saying as well, like that bit where he was saying, in this country you can't do that. You can't even talk to another coach. Can't even talk to another club if you're, he said it strict, like you can't do that here. And the bit about the Tuchel bit, he didn't actually say, I know they spoke to Tuchel. The guy said, well, they spoke to Tuchel, and he said, yeah, I know this. He didn't say they spoke to Thomas Tuchel and realized that I'm the best manager. It wasn't really that way round. It was, I know. And they spoke to many candidates and they realized that they have the best manager. And then a few people started smiling when he said that. Like, it was, if you haven't seen it, watch it.
Yeah.
Watch it. It is. And a lot of their words are just like in English, actually, because I know the subtitles are there. But you're following, he goes, oh, yeah, I know he said that. Like,
yeah. And you do, and even like, even though the subtitles are there, and obviously you can't understand what he's saying unless you can speak Dutch, obviously, you do get, just like you said, this sort of general sense of the tone of what they're saying. So like I said, when he says, but they said they have the best coach, then you do see he sort of says it with a straight face, but there are a few grins, and the way he says it's like, yeah, I'm the best coach kind of thing. It's definitely like that. But then some of the other things about, oh yeah, they flew out to Ibiza and that, it's not like they disturbed my holiday. It's very jokey. Like, again, the format is, and again, I'm really interested in that sort of style of coverage, because the format is, they're basically all sat around a big table in the middle of a room, and there's like an audience behind them, and it's all quite, sort of loose. They've all got
it's like an episode of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Well, it's just like, they're just, it's like a bit like, it's a bit like with you on DI and the round table. It's a bit like that, but there's people around you. It's a bit like that kind of thing. And so when he's talking about that, you've got, footballing legend Mark van Basten, sitting there nodding or thinking,
mental,
or, and it's just like that. And it's well worth a watch, definitely.
We actually don't have that in this country, do we? A live audience
They've tried it a couple of times. I remember they did it with they tried it, when they first started Sky
Monday Night Football. Did you have people in there?
Sky got the rights to Saturday Night Football. They started doing Saturday Night Football, and initially,
they would go. They
had an audience there for a little bit, and I just don't think they sort of, I don't know, because
if you now work in this country with our culture and how our fans are and how our pundits are, like, would it work?
I think
the right ones, it would.
Yeah, it depends on the right ones. Yeah, I think
if that CBS thing had people in there.
Yeah, exactly. That format, you need to have some big personalities round a table, do something like you could do something like that.
I tell you what, I'm gonna pitch that. I'm gonna pitch that to
Yeah.
Sky. Pitch it to BT, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, you could host it. Who knows? Believe in
Exactly.
yourself.
Exactly,
Believe in
Fleck.
yourself.
Yeah.
Talk about believing in yourself. Andy says, Flex, you prat. Why aren't you
Yeah.
in Germany? You were at Qatar. Been a long season, mate. You know, tour's coming up soon and just so much football. Sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of karma, you know? Not every day, you know, doing loads of stuff. You burn yourself out, mate. Sometimes you're right. I was in Qatar and it was absolutely knackering. And I loved it. But yeah, for this Euros, sometimes it's nice to just...
Yeah, everyone started getting like Qatar flu, didn't they, when they were out there as well?
Man, yeah. Oh, we were ruined. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, and there's a lot more traveling to do if you try and follow this tournament with it. You know, Dortmund to Frankfurt to Cologne if you want to follow England, and then
Gelsenkirchen.
Gelsenkirchen. Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot more spread out, a lot bigger space. You can't just jump on a bus or an Uber to cover 3 games in a day like we did in Qatar, which was just unbelievable. So good. So good. Makish says, has been a member for 11 months. Says, I left this in the free seats. I wanted to share for what it's worth. I speak Dutch and he has a lot of charisma and cojones. So when he speaks in his native tongue, he's a completely different personality. And look, I don't understand Dutch like that, but like you said, when you can see the difference when he's talking with them, and it's completely different. It's not stop start that might say the wrong word and or the thing. It's not that. It's not that. He's just doing his thing.
There's not the you know, like sometimes when when you watch those press conferences and you can hear the journalist asking the question and they might have a bit of an accent or they might ramble on, and you see the manager start frowning, going like this, going,
don't really know
what are they saying?
Yeah,
it must be really challenging. In fairness, like that would terrify me. The thought of speaking in front of the media, the world media, in a room of people that actually don't really like you that much, in the sense of the media too. They're waiting for you to slip up, and you're talking there in a language that you're like, at best, I'm like comfortable, but I'm not like
I'm not a seasoned pro in this at all.
Exactly. They must be tough. It must be really, really tough.
I'm not a seasoned pro in this at all. And lastly, Bruno and co tonight. Diogo Dalot, Portugal.
Well, lastly, Fleck, a little bit.
Oh, Lindelof. Sorry. Yes.
A little bit on Victor Lindelof from our friend Florian Plettenberg, or excuse me, Florentine, says he understands. Right. Exactly. He understands Fenerbahce is interested in Victor Lindelof, with Manchester United also open to a sale of the 29-year-old. His contract expires in 2025. That's next year. If Lindelof were to leave, it could mean Manchester United would sign 2 central defenders, because of course they would have lost 2 defenders in Varane and Lindelof. Negotiations about Jared Branthwaite remain ongoing, but difficult. Matthias de Ligt remains a transfer target as revealed, though they haven't given up on Lenny Yoro. So it kind of goes back to the centre-back discussions, but Lindelof could be on the way out, which we had kind of earmarked. We said that likelihood it was going to be just Varane leaving. It was going to either be Lindelof or Maguire, and it could be Lindelof joining up with Jose in Turkey.
That's a proper Jose move, that, isn't it? He'd love someone like Lindelof in there. Look, we called it right, really, didn't we? You extend people like Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka in January like we did, and when people don't realise the football side of it, so we're keeping Maguire, and now that means that, what's the point in keeping Lindelof, but we're going to let Varane go, and this was always meant to be the plan, so that when we arrive here, these people have 1 year left. If we didn't do it from January onwards, someone like Lindelof would have been announced at Galatasaray already, or Fenerbahce, or wherever. Do you know what I mean? It would have happened, because he would have been free to talk to clubs outside the Premier League from that January, because he's got 6 months left of his deal. Wan-Bissaka, same thing. I saw there was some interest from Galatasaray for him. Wilfried Zaha's there, so don't rule that out. So there's interest, and if we didn't lock down these players to have another year to retain some level of value, we would have been cussing now when all these players leave for free or go to bloody. If Wan-Bissaka goes back to Palace on a free, or goes to Everton on a free, or some shit like that, we'll be vexed. So Man United done the right thing, and now hopefully we can reap the rewards. It's not going to be massive financially. It's not going to hit a lot, but it's something. It's the best situation we had with the sins of the past. Because again, sins of the past is not going to be great solutions to a lot of the problems we have. We just have to clear the books. The biggest players we can sell is obviously Mason Greenwood and Sancho. Casemiro, in terms of just getting the wages off, but in terms of transfer fee, no. Scott McTominay would be 100% profit. Spoke to Victor Lindelof yesterday. Spoke
Did
to
you?
Laurie Whitwell.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interview coming tomorrow. I'll let you know what he said. I spoke to Laurie Whitwell yesterday. Just quickly touched upon the Rashford and Bruno situation of like, when we were sort of getting reports from James Ducker sort of saying everyone's got their price vibe. Remember we went through that parade. Listen, they're not trying to sell everyone, but if someone slapped 100 million down for Bruno, they would go and talk to Bruno and say, well, this is interesting. What do you want to do? Same with Rashi. And look, the general consensus is that, Laurie felt they would both stay. And I think we all pretty much agree with that. But in terms of selling our players to what we can raise, like that it's those types of players and they're not going anywhere. So really it's Sancho and Greenwood. It's getting Casemiro off the books. It's Eriksen for small change. It's Lindelof for small change. It's Wan-Bissaka for small change. And you never know with a McTominay. You have to do a lot of work in bringing players in if you let all those go, but you never know. So,
plus a couple of others that have come back off loan, like your Donnies, Palestris, Hannibals, like, those kind of people probably.
Little 3-4 million there. They're going to go, I mean, Donny finally going to get sold probably like 8 million to somewhere.
Well, if that. I mean, I don't even know if that. Yeah.
Exactly. So so we'll see. We shall see. Have I read all the comments there? Let's double check. Yes, I have. Yep. We're all good. Right. Just quickly, Bruno tonight, Portugal.
Yes. I'll be doing that one live.
Owen will be doing that. Be good to see Bruno in action. I hope he has a really good. I really want, if England don't win it, I want Portugal to win it. And I would love for Bruno to be really instrumental in that, top assister or scoring goals, just doing what Bruno does. I would love for him to get a major tournament under his belt, win, and 2, to have a big say in it, so that like a lot of the disrespect on his name could be quashed. It'd just be great for him and obviously Dallo as well. And you know what? I will say this, Owen. I don't know how you feel.
Go on.
Obviously, the stuff that happened with Ronaldo as he left, I still regarded him as a legend, and I've made it very clear. Like, I'm annoyed with him with how he's handled this. We never misconstrued what he said about the trade. Because when we announced this is another thing that annoyed me, actually, just before we go. 50 million, obviously, for the training ground. People were going, see, Ronaldo was right. Hang on a minute. We never didn't understand before Ronaldo even came back that the Carrington was shit and run down. It
wasn't new news.
We didn't need Ronaldo to come back and tell us that. So don't try and let's just stick to the fact that, like what Laurie was saying, Ronaldo was asked to play a certain way. That weren't going to work. So he just wanted to get out because he's the GOAT. Fine. Like, he's the GOAT. I'm not saying he should have done that. I was upset at the time, but I never said he's shit and this, that, and the other. And
it's like Alexis Sanchez. He said the same thing. He went, I did one trade session. I wanted to go back.
Exactly. But I will be honest. Seeing all the slander on his name, though, like that he is and rubbish. Because like we just said about the Saudi League, to be fair, 10 minutes ago, we said, Saudi League. I would love for him to be crazy in the Euros. I would love it for all the people who say, I was talking to Sugar Sean on on the William Hill, and he was like, but Ivan Toney would score more than him now, like this. And I'm like,
well, in Saudi,
just in general, just as a striker. I said if you put Ronaldo into Real Madrid now, he'd still score goals.
He'd still score goals. I mean,
the right team. Have to remember, he's still one of the most deadliest finishers in the world, if not the. Still,
you have to remember with Ronaldo again, like. The problem that he had, so the first season at Man United, if you still funnel everything into him, he will still score goals. Because that's what happened in his season back, didn't it? He was one of the top goal scorers in the league. Because that team was still creating stuff and putting stuff in for Ronaldo.
Still got 18 goals that first season.
Yeah, when Ten Hag came in, that was just not going to happen. And he was being asked to press or whatever. And also, then you get to the point you're going, Man United, should we be having 38-year-olds, up front, building with that, blah, blah, blah. But he's still Cristiano Ronaldo. He's in all of these build-up to the tournament matches, he's still been scoring goals. And that team, if you look at that Portugal team, that's why they're my pick, is because the amount of chance creators they've got in that team is unbelievable. Oh, my goodness me. It's incredible. Whether it is, Bruno Fernandes, whether it is João Felix, whether it is Rafael Leao, whether it is João Neves, whether it is Bernardo Silva, whether it is Jota, whether it is, we can go on and on of all the players they've got. It's ridiculous with the team that they've got. So
Ruben Neves in there, don't even start. gone to Saudi,
Exactly.
so it's just like, oh, is he even that anymore? Ruben Neves.
Exactly. They got. I mean, I know he's not chance creator, but João Palhinha. They just got him. You know what I mean?
Just there. You know,
in that team, it's outrageous. You know,
yeah.
and even the goalkeeper, they got Costa in goal.
All
You
three of
know,
them are good. Patricio
Inacio.
and what's his name? Saar, Patricio, and Costa. They're all
They
three
got.
goalkeepers, mate.
They got.
So
They're a top
that's what I
team.
mean. The back four, you know, Cancelo, Dallo, Inicial, Diaz. Like, come on, they're stacked.
Yeah, they got top.
They're
They're top
stacked.
team.
So I
Yeah.
just hope that also on the flip side, we hope they don't just have a stinker and like, you know, go out or play shit or go, oh, actually, they weren't really that great.
Yeah.
But you know, I just hope, I'm looking forward to that game because I want to see Portugal. They're like my second team in this, and I want to see Ronaldo do the business. Interesting to see if he starts. Surely he will.
He will start. I mean, there's no way. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he does. And I'm actually firmly team Ronaldo for this tournament in terms of I'd love to see him smash it, score goals, do the arrogant Sue, don't sit on it like big games.
They've got Vitinha as well, and that's
bloody hell. He's wicked at PSG. He's wicked.
They got literally so many players.
Stacked.
Yeah,
stacked, mate. Stacked.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's not until you go through their actual squad you go, bloody hell.
Yeah.
So squad. And people just sleeping on them like they ain't that good. So
yeah.
Anyway, smash the like on the video. We'll see you later on with that game. And if there's anything else transfer related, we will of course bring it to you. We are out of here. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.